Hi everybody, welcome to the final Banter salon session of today at CultureTECH here in Derry. The sun is shining outside, the night is today is still up, but we're here for the final session, and today we're talking about mobile music's big beats. We're trying to invite three people here, Colin, Stephen and Adam, and for the next 20 minutes, so we're just going to discuss the mobile music space, who's operating in it, where it's going. So we're going to start, I suppose, by, like, each of you just introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do. Start with Colin.
So yeah, I'm Colin. I'm the digital partnerships manager at BandApp. I've got a music history from singing in a band called 100 Reasons, which I did for about 10 years. I think that puts me in a good position to be a part of BandApp, because the core values of that are literally about being discovered and having that extra leg that we had that we didn't have when we were starting out in bands. So and that's why it's great being part of BandApp.
Cool, thank you very much, Colin. Stephen?
Stephen from Shuffler FM. We're music discovery, we help people to find and curate music. Formerly, I worked at Mobile Roadie Topspin, and Mobile Roadie help build apps for some really big and small bands, and kind of help educate the music industry how they can use mobile to make money, to sell music, tickets, merchandise, connect with their fans, grow their audience, because I think mobile is all around you, it's in your hand, it's an incredible way to connect. So it's been an exciting space and it's going well.
Great, thank you for seeing. Finally, Adam, a man I knew many years ago.
Many moons ago. Yeah, back when rock was rock.
Yeah, back when rock was rock. Yeah. Back when I used to do press for Rock Band.
Nice. Yeah, well, as you know, I'm Adam, CEO and founder of BandApp, and been in the band for ages. Band called A, signed to Warner's. I think we had 5 albums on Warner's, not very successful. One was okay. Toured the world and elsewhere and met loads of people, and then joined Bloodhound Gang.
Yeah.
As a drummer, I toured extensively all over the place, and figured from our conversations with fans on tour that mobile was a place to be, and that we could use our experiences as touring musicians to build a platform that would enable bands to communicate to fans via mobile, but let's do it in a way that's free, instant, and we own the conversation. A big brand app or an app store. So the other idea was to make our own app store for music apps.
Right. It's fascinating that we both Adam and Colin come from a sort of like a band background, that you've seen kind of firsthand, I suppose, struggles that bands face. And like one thing about all the companies you're describing about, it seems to be about like empowering bands. It doesn't seem to be about like taking things from them, taking rights to them, as you would have found with kind of 100 Reasons, you would have found with A and the other bands, that like taking the rights. It's about like the bands kind of like, I suppose, dictating the space. When you're talking to bands, are they uber aware of how important this is to hold on to their rights and to basically explore and exploit these new opportunities that are presented themselves?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a massive there's a massive percentage of bands out there now that get digital, get that they can do it themselves, get that they don't need a major record label anymore, and also get that the major record label deals aren't really there anymore. But there's still a big percentage that kind of hang on to that dream of being signed to a major label. Still out there, and shows like X Factor really kind of demonstrate that. People still starve them, I suppose. But there's a huge DIY scene of bands that realise that they can go and garner hundreds of thousands of CD fans and get a little bit out of that, and that's actually enough. And they can use all the great tools that are around them to make that happen. But yeah, they're really conscious that they need to keep their own rights, and that's one of the things that we're big piece of their armory.
Yeah, I think also allows that empowerment and connectivity amongst other bands as well, because one of the things that BandApp does is have like the explore function, which means you can find other bands and send them to you, and it just allows you to then do yourself up to follow them, communicate with them, and especially when we started out, you do gig shares, and it's very difficult to get out of your own town. And BandApp, I think, empowers bands to be able to do that, to get away from things and do things their own way. And it's great.
Yeah. From your point of view, like have you seen many examples kind of bands approaching the mobile music space in a very innovative way, and actually do stuff that like kind of like, okay, that's really interesting, or using the existing tools that are there to do something no one else is doing?
Yeah, so there's been some really cool things that I've observed over this. Most recently, a really great example was if anybody's seen the new Reflector song by Arcade Fire, they came up with this crazy idea where you go to a certain website on your computer and then you go to the same website on your phone. and the song was called Reflector, so you're using your iPhone as a reflector to kind of interact with the video.
Yeah, that's
and then,
amazing.
yeah, it's unbelievable. It's all done through the web. It's quite powerful. And then the audio is also, as well as coming from the desktop to through the phone, quite interesting.
Yeah.
That's one of the most engaging things I've ever seen, because it kind of leverage your phone and the web, and then at the end of the song, you buy the CD or buy a T-shirt.
Yeah.
But I suppose following on from that, so actually two musicians here. Do you think there's a danger sometimes that some bands may spend far too much time thinking about trying to come up with an innovative app, but they're not actually developers themselves, and they really should be thinking about the music, the touring, and second their manager.
That's my biggest my biggest bugbear when I do like panels and stuff and talk about this. My old big thing is that there's all these great platforms out there to help you market your band. But generally, bands now market themselves far too early. Back in the day, back when we were younger, don't sound like granddad here, but you worked in music. You got 3 killer songs, and then you made a demo. You went to record labels with it, and that almost seems to have come to an end where people call it an album now rather than a demo, and it's like check out my album on MySpace or YouTube or Facebook or whatever. And that's great. It's great that those platforms are there, but if you forget about the music, no one's going to care. It's still all about the song. It's more about the song than it's ever been. In a world where there's so much noise, and you need to cut above that noise, it's really hard to find those channels. There's A&R channels that used to exist, and those filters are all broken down now, which is great, but it creates more noise digitally, and you've got to have a great song.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people forget about that. They just go and market themselves.
Yeah.
So let's get a Tumblr page, let's get a Twitter account, let's get a Facebook page. Before they've even written a song, it's almost the right song for them to take a step back.
They don't get the songs ready either, and I think I see it quite a lot on SoundCloud accounts, where you get multiple iterations of the song where someone's just decided to mix it differently, and you think, yes, it's nice to have that history for yourself, keeping on versions of songs, but if they're not finished, then they shouldn't be in the public domain.
It's not a proper representation.
Yeah,
of the
Exactly. I think it's an awful lot of times as well, bands forget the minute they put something up on SoundCloud or put something up on YouTube, they're in the game. They don't realize that there's these kind of like we talk about old school A&R people going to gigs. Now I mean I remember being in what label was Mercury, and like inside Mercury, like someone's kind of point, well, there's the A&R department. The A&R department was 4 kids sitting around a bunch of laptops, and they were basically data miners. There's 1,000 blogs, 1,000 Twitter accounts they follow. Literally, whatever the bands these people mentioned, they will go and check them out. That's A&R right now, so you're in the game right away. You mentioned some great things, Stephen, that I want to kind of follow up on. You're talking about the Arcade Fire thing and how innovative that particular piece of I suppose of innovation was. Sometimes bands kind of feel that they need to have their own personal app. How important do you think it is for bands to kind of do something like that, or is it just like rather than kind of just wasting time, resources, money, largesse, and contacts to do that, maybe concentrate on what's already out there?
Yeah, I think like not everybody needs to be an app, or need to have an iPhone or an Android app. You need to concentrate on building your audience and making sure you have enough fans to justify having that application. Because there's no point having that, but no one's going to, if you've got 500 followers on Facebook, it's pretty pointless and going to the expense. You need to build your audience, and there's a cost, so like at Mobile Roadie, it was like $1,000 was the starting point. So like not every deal I want have $1,000 to spend, so we could have focused on the bigger ones. And we had a bigger budget to spend on events, and luckily a lot of the big bands that we were able to easily recoup that money and then sell lots of other things. So I think you need to get to a certain level. I think Ian Rogers has it from Topspin, or former chairman of Topspin, now at Beats by Dre, has this kind of quote. It's like, don't worry about selling any music until you've got 2,000 email addresses. You try and go your fan base and go your audience first.
Yeah. We had a discussion yesterday about innovation in music industry. It was made by a guy and an indie guy. It was a fascinating conversation. Fred Bolzer from Sony and David Emery from now Cobalt, formerly of Beggars. And they were kind of pointing out about the multiple revenue streams that are out there right now. You said something there, Adam, about earlier on. You were saying on BandApp. The BandApp plan was to be free. That you had to be free, So obviously, if people, like Stephen just pointed out, there's always a cost involved as well as in developing stuff. So obviously, it's all, I suppose, do you think everything now has pivoted on the fact that it's multiple revenue streams? The money has to come from a plethora of different sources.
Yeah, I think so. The way we approach it is different to Mobile Roadie, because we're looking at building a community of artists rather than just make incredible product for one-off product for a band. And so for us, it's about allowing free entry to this community, and then allowing a band to go and find fans from the word go. So interesting TikTok having 2,000 fans. That's what we're really aiming at now is, build a BandApp, write some half-decent songs, and we can help you go and find new fans in our ecosystem. It's not just build a BandApp and go and sit over there. It's now use our platform to go and find a bit like a LinkedIn flavour almost, it's like build a BandApp, there's 100,000 users using it now, we can help you grow you through that ecosystem and get yourself new fans. So we, right at the beginning you can go and do that and go it's free. And so for us, they have to be willing to challenge to make the business work because all our products are free. They're free to fans, they're free to fans, and yours will be. There's no freebie element to BandApp, and the net will be. I'm not interested in that at all. I'm interested in giving Metallica the same tools as another time band from Gary. And seeing I'm interested in what they do with it and how we can help them up the ladder. It's taken a while, but it's been good in building that initial sort of ecosystem now. It's the place where people can go and there's a community already there that exists. May not like music, but at least there's a chance.
But it also gives us some discount about BandApp who literally does just talk through BandApp and find new bands.
Yeah, we have our own
Exactly, and then what that does is that becomes its own entity in itself, and we allow them to then kind of be featured on BandApp.com. We find artists ourselves that we like, and then we make a splash about. We have BandApp showcases that we do kind of every 2 to 3 months as well. And so then we get like a big band in to come and headline, and then we get those bands win competition prizes to support those bands, and we just try and we go beyond the app, so to speak. We want we say to people, if you're good enough, we want to reward them somehow. Might not be necessarily monetary terms from us because we're giving them it's free, but it gives them something that's tangible, and it's what we always crave when we're a band. And a big band came into town, we'd be like, wouldn't it be great to support them, and all other bands are kind of fighting for it. But we kind of bring that mentality to what we do as well.
Right. In terms of the money in the space, have you found enough of the kind of bigger developers are looking at the idea of mobile music? This idea that this space is where music is going right now and moving into it. And are you seeing kind of examples of a lot of money being thrown at this particular sector?
Well, I'll address that. I've just because I've met lots of people that spent a lot of money on mobile apps, and some of them kind of wasted their money. That's one of the reasons that Mobile Roadie guys, when they first launched the product, it used to cost £20,000 to build a good artist application, and then they kind of democratized the process, made it
$20,000.
And there's
examples of 250.
There's an app, a certain band who spent $100,000 on building that app, and the product that we built for $1,000 was much better. So there was at the beginning of mobile and apps, there was a lot of money wasted, and people were spending crazy money, and I think the Bjork app cost a lot of money. I'm not sure how much that was ever recouped via the app, but people speaking about it for years. It's been all over. It must have been a great market for Bjork. At the beginning it was crazy expensive, but record labels don't have huge amounts of money to spend on big fancy mobile projects anymore.
We do find that, we meet Steve and 12 labels and label meetings. Most of the time, that's what we do. And there is no budget. You think there's going to be budget, but there isn't any, because there's so many free tools out there that will help grow your audience, Twitters and Facebooks and the like. They are reticent to spend money on mobile, but at the same time, they do understand his worth and his value, and that's becoming more present in the conversations that I definitely have. People realise it's a space that needs to attack. It's just still trying to figure out how they attack it as a company rather than as a sort of solo project.
Just in terms of like the money that's coming into the space comp. Both lads here talked about labels and how labels are kind of doing it and the money they've wasted or whatever. What about corporate brands? Have you got much kind of side of or experience of corporate brands trying to come into this kind of space, both in a good way and a bad way, spending a lot of money?
Well, I think Red Bull really seems to be kind of hammering that space with the money. We went to there was a thing that happened in London a few months ago where they were literally asking people that were coding and being startups who want to submit ideas to them, which they could then sort of put into their own sort of think tank and then sort of follow up on really. So it's kind of, because they've got their fingers in so many pies in the music business, to me it's just
they're serious options. They've come up every single day here. Like we Red Bull is the example of a brand.
They're the Jägermeister and two that really got music.
Yeah.
Fans obviously.
Yeah.
I think brands have an important, or can play an important part in helping to fund a lot of these products as well. Like Steam brought out a big fancy app with that was sponsored by American Express.
Shit music though too.
Not so much they know that. Yeah, so like they had to kind of commission, get a brand on board to fund, just the development of that. And I think we've done a big app for the Rolling Stones, and it was presented by Citibank, so Citibank paid to to have a presence there. So brands are playing an important thing, and nobody's done a better job than Red Bull online.
Yeah, but I think Red Bull kind of almost have that kudos to it because they've got the studios, they've got their other things that they do. They're all very music based. I think if I was, obviously Citibank came and wanted to do it, you don't really kind of really see the synergy.
Yeah.
So it kind of takes away a certain amount of coolness from doing it, I think,
It is a problem. But I've seen there are some brands that are that we would like to use, so like fans trainers, if an app, if I go into those kind of trainers presented by fans, I'd be kind of comfortable with that. If it was like by some Shell, maybe not.
But they sponsor music festivals all the time, things like
Yeah,
that.
they're
Just
immersive.
a clothing brand that are very much in synergy with music as well. And, they kind of spend that time to have their own bands that wear their clothes and all that kind of challenge.
That's a bigger conversation even away from mobile, because I think back when we were working together, if your band got mixed with a brand, fans would hate for it. I remember we did this thing with a big phone company. I remember someone in a big shopping mall in Cape Town one day, chased me down the mall, having a go at me like I was the worst person in the world because he sold out to this brand. And now people realise that actually brands can play a part in a whole role in helping a band make records and get a record out. And so I think brands.
I think what's happened there, and you've kind of demonstrated as well, is like the actual dialogue around the brand thing has changed. Years ago, it used to be a case of if a band is involved with brand, people kind of just doing it for the check. Whereas now, I think people are becoming more aware that the reason, there's still money involved, but the money it has to be there to use in order to record, in order to make sure the bands operate. I mean, I think an awful lot of people are very, very savvy. Consumers anyway, much more savvy of what brands brings to the table.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they know that every band has got to make content, whether it's recorded or whether it's video, or you've got to make content. People consume that content. If a brand can help you do that.
I suppose leading on from that, leading on from the earlier conversation we had here today at Banter with Brendan just from Soundwave, where like a music discovery app that launched a couple of months ago, and it's a question I asked him is like, how does a kind of a app or that sort of like innovation keep fresh, you know what I mean? Do you have to keep iterating? What I mean by that is if I brought my phone right now and just turned it on, showed you how many apps I've downloaded, the last time, in some cases I haven't used them in 3, 4, 5 months, like is this a problem? Sometimes like say for example the Arcade Fire thing comes out, it's very much about now, so that's fine. A lot of bands have brought out apps and within 3, 4 months you're never going to use it again.
It's a problem, and one of the problems is that people think that they can just stick an app out there and that is, you need to keep it fresh, put new things and give people a reason to go back, I've seen a lot of people just build apps, launch them and put them out there and leave them, you don't launch a website and then, people think it's just, you can create it and then it will look after itself. But if you put time and effort into, what you do on mobile, the rewards can be really good, and if you use your analytics and measure, what people are doing, if they're giving buy to contracts to iTunes, you have to put in effort. There's no magic formula. It's the same as it's old school digital marketing.
Yeah, it's.
I think it's also about the some bands can be very, very lazy when it comes to things as well, because arguably they probably said anything. Some of them that they should just be sitting there writing music and playing the shows and what have you. But when you are just starting out as a band, and again, it probably did the same. You'd be outside shows handing out flyers. But now it's kind of like we've got an app and it's up to date and we're making sure we spend our time on that. And the focus just needs to change, I think, from bands I don't think that when it comes to their updating digitals, I've found like I've just mentioned slightly lacking where it kind of has to change the mentality from handing out flyers to doing it in the digital space instead.
We've had a change of sort of strategy this year as well, which is focused on the fans. We always made the assumption that if you get bands, fans will come, and then bands will keep their apps active, as Steve was saying and Colin was saying. But actually, it's almost an assumption that the idea that now is build an ecosystem of fans, and bands will know they've got to keep their apps topped up because there's a hungry destination of fans out there that want to consume it. And if you can let that band know that someone just looks at a photo, someone just playing the track, someone just bought a ticket, someone just recommended your app to somebody else, and notify them, they'll realise actually this is worth updating and keeping updated, because there's a community out there that's looking at this and sharing this, and that's what we try to focus on this year, is the sort of fan side of it. So when you build your BandApp, you get notified if someone's using it, and you get notified which bits are working, which bits aren't. If somebody shares it, somebody talks about it, somebody's even playing a track on it. We think that'll educate bands to keep their apps topped up. But some bands are just never going to win, because bands are cycling in a recording cycle, as you know, or a touring cycle, or they're like a jobbing band that have got other jobs and there's just something they do down the pub every week. So they haven't got a lot of content. So we try to place a part of, own a little bit of every BandApp with an explore button, which explores other BandApps and pulls them into yours, and also a fan button that gives you fan tools and keeps that BandApp looking and feeling busy, even for management. To try and combat that problem with a Mary Celeste style app that just stays there.
I like that idea. Last couple of questions. Colin, I want to ask you this one. If 100 Reasons was starting out today, how important do you think it would be to have a geek in the band's team, in the band's A team, instead of the manager and agent, have a geek as well?
Somebody's got 5 geeks.
Everyone in a band usually should be something.
They should be, yeah.
Exactly, but our guitar player was into the production side of things, but I've always been into the tech side of things, and it's something that's always, I'd be the one that would be on top of that. I'd be just making sure, because no one else in the band really took much of an interest necessarily in the management side of things. I was the one that was always wondering what's going on and asking those questions.
But your manager hates you.
Probably. I was the one that Adam calls them punishers, the people that kind of nag. So I'd be the one that's just warning why stuff hasn't happened and all that kind of thing. But I'd be the one that would be taking care of it, definitely. And it is important. I think that the bands that put the effort in are the ones that reap those rewards. And the Mary Celeste thing we just talked about now, if you put it up there and just leave it, it isn't going to do anything. It's up to you to go out there and empower yourself and do it.
Right.
So
Cool. Without mentioning Shuffler FM, Stephen, what other kind of exciting innovations and exciting things you've seen in the mobile music space in the last 12 18 months?
When you mentioned SoundCloud, they all the news, 350,000 downloads of their app. We're doing some interesting things around discovery. Sorry, that's one of the problems. Discovery, so having apps that can help people find their music is interesting.
Final question to you, Adam, what's the worst piece of shite you've seen in a mobile music experience as well? You can take 50 ones.
I've made a few BandApps, like test ones, just to test different products and features, and they're so shit. It's like pictures of my dog, and using his paw print for an animal. Yeah,
They're not publicly available.
they're not publicly available, they're just testing. No, I think Stephen's saying, you see a lot of wastage, and the amount of money that's around, there's not a lot to invest in mobile from the record industry side of it. And when you do see the record industry wasting money on any products, including mobile, it's always sickening, because if you spend it in the right place, you can be helping someone be creative, or it's always a bit sickening. You do see a lot of money going down the drain on the kind of Emperor's New Place sort of side of it when apps first came out, the App Store just did that, and it's hard for me to sort of pinpoint anything that I've seen that's been really bad apart from the apps like that.
Okay, Colin, Stephen, Alan, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
That was great. That's a wrap.